Well, not much transpired today. We had the second lowest volume day of the year, very narrow range, continuing to build a base here. We did get a rejection of that high, which I anticipated, but I was anticipating it happening in the morning. So by the time it came up here and rejected the high, there wasn't much time left in the day. So I really didn't do much after the opening. Initially, when we came here and sprang the bottom of this range, I did take a long trade on the 3000. Got long right here, very much a standard 310 oscillator trade. Had ease of movement here, making a higher high with decent demand. So I bought it around here, sold it, and then got back in here. Made about 3/4 of a point when we started rejecting this high. It became evident after this bar, once we had a bullish bar here and we took out the low of that bar, that became evident to me that we weren't going to move higher. So I exited that trade. After that, there was another setup on the 9,000 chart. As you can see, it was a 310 oscillator trade here as well. Just, we're making higher highs and higher lows. Would have been a decent trade, but by that time, I didn't really feel like there was enough volume in the morning to warrant taking any kind of risk of that nature, so I passed on the trade. It probably would have yielded maybe 2 points. I might have gotten out of it, maybe a point and a half. So nothing to cry about, but there was a decent trade there, especially seeing that the larger pullback on the 9,000 here, we had a little bit of no supply test right here. That would have been an ideal spot to get long at around 16.12, but I didn't take that. Well, for tomorrow, we did show some signs of weakness. We made an attempt to make a go higher with lots of effort with not much result. That is some weakness showing up, which makes me believe that it's possible we can come down to around the 1595, 1593 and a half level that we spoke about yesterday. For me to short something like that, I need to see us break out of this trading range to the downside, come up and test it, and short the test. However, I think it's probably more likely when we could move higher. So I will anticipate potentially a spring here. I don't know if I'd take an up thrust here given the trend in the overall market, especially given the fact that we held our gains from all of Friday's gains today. Anyways, that's all I have to share for today. On the trading front, for what I did today in my trading, one other thing I guess I should note too, range was very narrow as well on the daily chart. As you can see, one of the narrowest ranges we've had in well over 7 days. So there is potential for a trend day tomorrow. My guess, the trend day would probably more likely need to be up than down. I think any kind of trend day down into that support level we talked about would probably result in a bounce. So I don't know if we would close on our lows per se, but it's possible. You never know. So just keep on our toes for maybe a breakout and move higher tomorrow. Thought I might highlight a stock that I found kind of interesting. I actually did take this trade. I'm actually starting to swing trade some stocks now, as well as day trade the S&Ps. I have I've always wanted to do kind of a portfolio of stocks, just more for longer term investing. Looking for 3-month holds, 2 to 3-month holds is kind of the length of time I'm looking for. So, I'm basing most of my stuff on weekly and looking to enter on the daily chart. And ADI was a great stock I wanted to highlight for you guys. On the weekly chart, is very typical. I'm trading it just like I would trade my stocks or my intraday trading on the S&Ps. As you can see here, we had a perfect example of a 310 oscillator buy, and I often like to confirm my oscillator buy maybe with a trend on the higher time frame. And if you look here at the monthly chart, as you can see, we have a pretty strong trend, almost a 45-degree angle on the EMA, and of course my 310 is showing a strong trend, and we're above a major resistance level here, or major resistance level. And so when I saw this 310 oscillator trade, this was a stock I had my eye on. I do buy some fundamental research, and this one had pretty strong fundamentals. So I decided to keep an eye on this one, and I missed the initial, I think they started recommending this thing before I was really swing trading stocks. So I was looking for a place to get in, and sure enough, 310 oscillator trade on top of pretty long. I almost see this as a wedge pattern, a very large wedge pattern on the monthly, and saw the 310 oscillator setting up, and just kept my eye on the daily, and missed the initial spring we had right here, beautiful spring right on top of weekly support, but did get long on this bar. Actually, I think I bought it on the open of this bar, and we had no supply test coming down, testing the spring. Next bar turned up, which is generally bullish. So when I saw that we were starting to take out the high of that bar, I jumped in right here. And of course, the stock market's been going up strong. I was kind of bullish on that as well, and that was another reason I probably wouldn't have gone long any stocks if I wasn't bullish on the S&Ps. But this just is a beautiful trade, just a perfect example of how you can use the different time frames, and especially using the lines. My biggest thing was this weekly support and the spring on top of it. It almost made it a no-brainer to go long, and it's a nice little run. Anyways, every once in a while I'll pull up another stock I see that I think's interesting. For tomorrow, like I said, most likely there's a good chance of a trend day, so stay on your toes. I'm more bullish than bearish. Though if we do break today's lows, I'll look for a potential move, maybe a washout move down to, I believe it was 13. What was that price? Sorry, 15.95 and a half to 15.93 and a half. Anyways, have good trading tomorrow. Take care.